So one of the themes of this class is that there's theory and then there's practice. How things work sort of in the textbook world versus how things work in the real world, let's say. We can talk about Locke, Hobbes, Burke, Madison, all the other political philosophers of the 17th, 18th, 19th century. But the reality is that people are self-interested and pursue what is best for them, and the winners create the institutions. So from that lens, why do we get nationalization? Well, there's a few reasons. The first is that it's difficult to lobby and persuade 50 states separately. If you have the ability to get the federal government to pass a policy, why not just do that instead of going through 50 separate state processes? Learning about the stakeholders in 50 states, learning about the different legislative processes, the major players, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's incredibly difficult, right? So if you do it once at the federal level, that's a great way to do it. Also, in many cases, the federal government may be more receptive to your policy than at least some of the states. If you have some key states that are holding out, but most states are on board, the federal government may be able to overrule the last holdouts. Finally, if you have some policies that really only affect a few states negatively, but those states are the biggest reason you need the policy. Things like pollution in the Rust Belt factories, I keep going back to there. There's only a handful of states that have to deal with auto manufacturing, but they're the ones who need to fix the policy if you're going to have any meaningful change. Going through the Ohio, Michigan, etc. state legislatures is going to be a problem. But if you go through the federal government, the other 45 or so states will put pressure on them, force them to comply. Life is good, you get the Clean Air Act. When there's policies that are located in a region or a specific industry, you'll need the federal government to step in and take care of them. So that's a great reason why you might do that as well. Of course, this isn't always the case. Sometimes you don't want to go through the federal government, you want to go through state governments instead. Sometimes the federal government won't be receptive, but individual states might be. Some great examples of this are stem cell research in California. It's popular there, and the research facilities benefit greatly from it, but stem cell research has enough opponents in the federal government that it'll never pass at that level. Similarly, gay marriage for a long time was an issue where proponents tried to find a critical mass of states to support it. They had to go state by state, and they got several states along the way. The hope was that once a majority of states had gay marriage, then the federal government would follow. Well, what eventually happened was states banned gay marriage while other states passed it, and that led to the Supreme Court having to take the issue on. They never did get that critical mass of states. The Supreme Court took it on, and we now have gay marriage in all 50 states. Congress, on the other hand, would never have gone along with that. If you're waiting for the national government to pass bills supporting gay marriage, you would be waiting, I don't know how long, but quite a while, especially when you have, almost all the Republican Party opposed to it, and you've got religious Democrats opposed to it as well. So there's times when you go through the national government, times when you go through the state government, and it really depends on what you're trying to do, your strategies, your policies. What's going to work best for you is going to be very issue specific and time specific.